Aha. So now then, this means we're recording live on YouTube. So we're 15 minutes early. So I'm going to switch it off now. So if you're watching this live, fast forward about 10 or 12 minutes. Nice sound of wine being poured in the background here. Evening all. Just waiting for it's 5 minutes to go yet. I'm going to sit here. I've got my first glass of Vino Verde on the go. Bottle open rye. And Joe. So we're all muted at the moment. So let me maybe I can. Oh, Phil as well. Let me just maybe if I can unmute it. Can I unmute everybody? Actually, yes, I can ask you. I'll mute everybody later, but you can all unmute if you want to. Just so there's a bit of sound going on whilst we're waiting for everybody to join.
Oh, it's on.
Oh, it's on. We're on. Okay, hi there, Rob. See, you found the email in the end.
Oh, okay. It's just sorry.
Hello, Tony.
You right?
Hi, yeah, good. Come and sit around here.
What others?
Excellent. Portuguese ones.
No.
Got a little thing going.
Hello, Mark.
It's just always so unpredictable how it's going to
Hi,
happen.
Gary.
You all right?
Very well, thank you. Better
Good.
now. This first glass of Vino Verde.
Cheers.
Cheers all.
Cheers.
What are we starting with now?
Hi, Jackie. Rachel. Can't see Rachel.
I'm working on it.
Good evening.
Evening all.
Looks nice weather in Portugal.
Thank you. I'm actually down in the Algarve, so
Oh,
it's always good weather here.
Yes.
So yeah. We keep going. We haven't got Diogo yet. Christiana's been very good. She's been logged in for 20 minutes just to make sure, which is great. So have I. Actually. Rachel, we can see you now.
Yay!
Hooray.
Hope everyone's got their glasses ready.
I'm just going to give another couple of minutes. We just need to keep an eye out for Diogo. We had a run through with him yesterday, so make sure he was doing all his on his phone because he couldn't get his computer microphone to work. So I'm sure he'll be around.
And welcome back, everyone. It feels like
years
years,
since we've done
doesn't it?
Oh, there's
James is
Diogo.
having-
There you go.
James is having his extension done.
Yeah, we sit there. There's okay, and Diogo. There's Diogo coming in.
Super.
So we have our white winemaker and our red winemaker. You need to
And
turn your
Hello.
video on, Diogo. If you can hear.
Brilliant. Ideal. How are you?
Kent contingent, please go on mute. I'm going to put them on mute.
Have to just unmute ourselves. Yeah, so we can unmute. There's- Right, if you got your video on, if you can hear us, Diogo, can you put your video on so we can all see you? Connecting to audio, Diogo. Okay, there you go. Hang on, where is? I've lost him now. Unmute.
Hello.
Mute. There you go. Welcome, Diogo.
Hi there, Mark.
Hello. Right. Well, I think
Diana.
it's just gone 7 o'clock by mine, so there's a few still to come. But I think it's probably a good time to start. I think I will. I'm not sharing my screen, but if you want to, I don't know if you're on speaker view or gallery view, but if you want to pin Christiana and Diogo, they're the most important people tonight. Kind of drink their wines and chat to them. Obviously, Rachel and I come second to that, and me a poor fourth. But there you go. So let's just first of all, everybody, if we got a glass of, we're starting off with the Vinho Verde, which is the fresh one, just to say, raise a glass to say welcome, good to see you all again, and cheers.
Cheers. Christiana, how do we say cheers in Portuguese?
A nossa. To
A
us.
nossa.
It means to a nossa. It means to us.
And
Okay, there you go.
A nossa.
Saúde.
So
Also saúde.
before we get around to the introduction, we always like to start with a map. So I shall share my screen, and if I can, and find a map. And there's a map of Portugal. There you go. So
Yes.
there we go. So the whole map of Portugal, right down the bottom in the Algarve where you are, Cristiano, at the moment. And
Yes.
then coming up the Alentejo, the Setúbal, then you've got Lisbon there, and where so in just north of Lisbon is where Diogo's wines are. Then right up the top, the Vinho Verde region where your wines are, Cristiana.
And we are that's
There
me
you
and
go,
her
that's you.
husband. Yes.
So I thought so first of all, before we just to position you, here's a sort of more detailed map. Whereabouts on that map are you then?
I'm in the pink one, so it's called Basto. So you see Baião, Amarante, and then you see Basto. The one
Oh, that one there.
inland, exactly. We are the
Okay.
most inland region of the Vinho Verde. So we have what is called the transition Vinho Verde, because just on the right hand side is Douro, and on the north it will be Vila Real. So very different wines. We had the last one, the last Verde before the Douro. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, so Portugal, I reckon, seems to be a very sort of hot country. Hot, not just in not temperature-wise, but it's sort of popularity-wise. Lots of people going on holiday, and the wines are obviously great. And so we've got two wines from you. We've got the Vinho Verde and the Alvarinho.
This one.
Alvarinho seems to be the Lush. Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce them. That's for sure. So on your pronunciation. We'll stop the share now.
Yeah.
And go back on. So tell me, I'm going back to so when I first back in 1984, I won a wine traveling scholarship, and I drove down through northern Spain, down through Vinha Verde, down through Portugal, down to the south. And one of the things that I remember at the time was how a bit chaotic it all was. In every vineyard had a complete mishmash of different varieties. And when one vine died, another vine was planted, and it might have been anything. But of course, that's all changed now. It's completely changed, and everybody's planting whole vineyards with the same variety to make sure that you've got a better control about it. And back then, Vinha Verde was quite a popular wine. There was a Gatau brand, the cat brand. And it's we sold shed loads of it in Victoria Wine when I was there, but it seems to have gone quiet since then in this country. I don't know, but when I tasted yours earlier this year, I thought, wow, I've forgotten how good it was. And also the thing about it is it's got this lovely prickle. Sort of like everybody, if you're looking at the wine, it's got little bubbles, so it's got a slight hint of gas to it. So I think that's probably a good way to start, Christiana. Of what is it that gives, and why does the Vinha Verde have this gas? And I mean, that's part of its allure, isn't it?
Yes. First, you said on the 1990s, Vinho Verde was popular, and then it became less. I think many people did. They went through, I don't know, they went through a different path through this. We try to do a different Vinho Verde. We try to do Vinho Verde that is more like we used to drink, and not so frizzy and sweetish wine. The spark, the fizziness that you feel is partially because we do fermentation in closed tanks, and we try to keep the gas kept inside, a little bit like they do in beers. It's more or less the same system. Sometimes it's not enough and you have to add a little bit, but it's always very, very small amounts. The idea of this fizziness is just to give you a little bit more freshness. It's like it touches your mouth and your tongue, and it kind of makes it happen. Yeah. So things start to happen in your mouth.
It's the acidity, isn't it? There's some lovely acidity about it. The carbon dioxide, the carbonic acid gas that gives you that prickle. So I was interested. You mentioned the fact that you go for a dry style, and I think that's what appealed to me about it. Why it appealed to me is because it is bone dry. It's got a lovely minerality, freshness.
Yeah, sometimes really they do tell me. Sometimes people do tell me, you have to do it more sweet.
Don't change.
Don't change it, Christiana. Don't change it. I wonder whether, Mark, we start off, like, why don't we do like a group? So there's some people joining for the first time, but we obviously have a tradition as a cohort to do a group swill, smell, swash and taste.
Well, that's also nice to do that. If everybody would like to unmute themselves, because I do like the sound of a group. So yes, it's this is our first slurp for ages. So cheers, everybody. Have a slurp.
We're going to stay the course. Oh, there we have it.
And actually, with that slurp, it actually, if you feel that there's the depth of minerality is even nicer. It's even nicer slurping it than it is just plugging it. Perfect.
Yeah, because you feel it all your mouth, and it's kind of start to salivate.
Yeah, well, I know. I salivate just at the thought of it, to be honest with you. But actually, that's because I haven't had any alcohol for a week. This is my first.
So just going to ask everyone to go back on mute, if that's all right. Good slurping. Lots of gooseberry comments there. So I think you're bang on. I think Christiana, you're about to tell us that we should be tasting kind of fresh citrusy notes and gooseberry, I'm sure.
Yes. The base of this wine, it has a couple of varieties, but the main ones are very well known for you, probably for all of you, that is Arinto, that also they use on the south in Lisbon and Alentejo, that is very mineral. So there's a lot of that kind of acidic information comes from the Arinto. That here has a little bit. It's more. It's like it's more. The grapes are more mature. They don't get so green. They get like real real ripe
maybe
fruit.
you
I couldn't
Yeah,
remember the
ripe
name. Ripe.
Because I was going to
Yeah.
ask, like, where does the I think like it translates literally as like the green wine, and is that
Yeah.
because lots of the grapes don't ripen, so they're kind of harder when you produce them? Why is it called the green wine?
They are basically on the beginning. It was because on the beginning, like I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, it's because the wines were very harsh, actually. But it became also because it's the name Vinho Verde is also the name of the appellation. So the area where it is also called Vinho Verde, and it comes from now. What we do believe it comes from is because first the landscape is green. It's very green. So everywhere you go, everywhere you look, it's green. So that's one of the ways to see it. And the other one is because it's always probably most of the times a very young wine. So Vinho Verde should be 3, 4, 5 months after being prepared. It's already on the market. It's not staging. It's not waiting. It's not doing crianza like the Spanish say.
It's a wine to be drunk. It's a wine to be drunk within the year of production. Yeah. So what would
So
you
then green,
what would you eat with it? What was the typical food that you'd have with the Vinho Verde?
The Vinho
Sardines, surely.
If you can find them. They're so expensive, so yeah. But yes, maybe sardines. It's more around the fish, the grilled fish, the maybe sushi if you're into sushi. Maybe a little bit of spicy food, but not too spicy, because it's not very sweet. So you'll find the big. You'll feel the difference. But yes, I think everything that you can eat outside with your friends. If it's not raining, I think it's a good pair with Vinho Verde. Yeah.
I think I remember when, as a kid, having opal fruits, and they make your mouth water. This is just exactly like this for me. I'm having a mouthful of this, and I am literally salivating when I'm drinking it, and it's a very lovely thing to do on this. Well, it's not quite so hot today, but it's a bit overcast.
And just a reminder for anyone, if you've got any questions for Christiana or for Mark as we go through today, just pop the questions in the chat box and then I'll field them to them as we go through. So no questions stupid, funny questions get extra points. Go for it.
Okay, so just broadening out then. So Vinho Verde is I'm guessing anyway for me the most famous white wine from Portugal, but possibly the most famous white varietal is the Alvarinho. So the next wine.
Yes.
So I don't know. This might be a time to finish off. Well, ideally, you've got 2 glasses, so you can.
I just have one. I have to drink mine.
Also, like you get extra points for anyone that's already finished the first bottle.
Yeah,
we have.
Oh my God.
So we can't compare them because we finished it. But I think, Christina, that just shows how delicious and thirst quenching it is. Delicious wine.
So the other thing is that you mentioned a couple of grape varieties, which of course, honestly, probably nobody's ever heard of before and can't remember. But Alvarinho, that's a much better known name, and it's possibly the only the famous grape in white, certainly in white terms, from Portugal. Did it originate in Portugal? Because there is that we do have a French Albarino, and they claim that it was started in France and then moved to Spain and Portugal afterwards.
The French! Oh my God! Everything comes from France, huh? No, I think there could be a question between the north of Portugal and the I'm sorry.
What part?
No, it gave me. I had a blank now.
In terms of the Albarino, the north of Portugal, and what the French, the Spanish ones in
yes,
in
the Spanish ones in Galicia. Yes, sorry, I just couldn't. I just remember. Yeah,
which is just north, right? So Galicia is
the France.
That wraps around what must be the Vinho Verde region. So the Galicia then wraps around the top, and it's very coastal. Albarino, for those, it is a Spanish wine. It's one of my favorites. I love it with seafood. It's like my go-to in a restaurant if I don't know what to order. So for those that haven't tried Albarino, it might be good to try some this weekend and compare it to the Albarino.
Yeah, they are exactly the same grape. So they actually have the same rivers, banks, and everything. So I think Spanish could spread the word, and they did a good job spreading the word of Alvarinho. But the grape itself, if it did start somewhere, maybe in the north of Portugal, but it doesn't matter. It just matters that people are doing a good job with it. It's actually, I don't know. Alvarinho
sorry, before you go on, Christian, does everybody have a taste? Because having gone from the Vinho Verde, which is crisp and that little spritz and mineral and very sharp and clacky, this one there's much you can smell there's more fruit to it, and in the mouth it's got a fatter style. It's still got lovely sort of freshness to it, but it's a much rounder style. Whilst not at all being over, it's still very refreshing, still lovely and summery. I've just got to check my the alcohols. It's 12.5% on the Alvarinho and 11.5% on the Vinho Verde. So they're still very much great lunchtime drinking wines without having to worry too much about it afterwards. So the Alvarinho, lovely, nice, softer fruit, but still refreshing. Is that typical?
Yeah. We are exactly not a traditional place to do Alvarinho. So the place that is more well known in Portugal is called Monção Melgaço, that is on the top of Portugal, almost getting to Spain. We are a little bit lower, but we have we have characteristics that are very similar. We have the riverbanks, not the Minho riverbanks, but we have the Tâmega riverbanks, and we have granitic soils. It's almost all our soils are granitic. So I think the Alvarinho grows very well there. So, and the way it's done, it's a little bit our view on it. So yes. Actually the Alvarinho is a really small grape, so I think that helps to be more concentrated. So if other grapes are like this, the Alvarinho should be like this small. So everything is very concentrated. All the grapes have a lot of flavor. They are very intense, and I think that helps to be. Alvarinho will always be a very good wine if people are doing a good job.
I looked on your Instagram page. You got lots and lots of photographs. So they're all very lovely, and my technical ability is not sort of great. I wasn't really able to download them and show them. But one of them, there was a bunch of grapes which looked like Vinho Verde, which were green, and there was another bunch of grapes that was a bit more yellowy, looked riper. And I wonder, was that an Alvarinho? Is there a difference in colour of the grapes, or was that just a sort of a ripeness thing that I was looking at?
No, it could be. If it's very small, if it fits in a hand, it should be Alvarinho. If it's big like this, then it could be other grapes, like Loureiro are very big, and Arinto and Trajadura, and I don't know, Azal. There's loads of grapes in Portugal, so even we have lots of we even have a German grape called Riesling, so we have lots of grapes.
No, let's keep the French and the Germans away from tonight. Sure.
And Christiana, would you recommend, like, do you drink this young as well, or will it cellar a bit longer? What's the kind of picking through production through to kind of cellaring and then drinking age? What's that timeline look like?
I'm actually bottling now an Alvarinho that is like 4 or 5 years old, and it's even better now. So the thing is, people still think that because it's a Vinho Verde also, it should be drank young. But I think this grape becomes better and better and better with time. It's just, if it sits there for you, forget about it. In a couple of years, you find it, drink it, because it will be better. It's a really good wine.
And
so what you're saying, Christiana, is that everybody after this tasting needs to buy 2 cases, drink one, and save one for a couple of years.
Forget them and drink them a couple of years time.
Yeah.
No, just drink them now. Now drink them now, but you do find Alvarinhos are older. They'll be better. They'll be different. They're not. They'll leave this young, vibrant feeling, and they'll be more mature and involving, like I don't know how do you say, like velvety. They'll be. It's different. Yes, it's really nice.
Get more softer and softer as it gets a bit older.
Yeah.
Well, I think those are both lovely. Thank you very much. What I'd like to do now is, whilst we move on to the reds for tasting, we'll start with the Casabel and then move on to the what's it called? The Sanguinhal. Diogo tried to make me pronounce it correctly. The Sanguinhal, I think it is. So
we'll give people a few minutes to like get those open.
So while we're doing that, I've got a short video from the Sanguinal, so I'm going to try and screen share that with everybody whilst we pour a glass of the Casabel first. So if you bear with me, you remember last time, I'm not hugely clever at doing this. If I can find it, I'm gone. I've got to find it now. Hang on.
Yes, Mark, you're better at drinking wine than playing videos.
Better at drinking wine. Screen share, sound share. Go down there. Find the video. There we go. Try and find that. If I can find it, it comes online. Try closing some applications. I don't think so.
I'm really into the Kent contingent snacks. I'm like really into the snacks. Yeah, really nice. Looks lovely.
So yes, that's an advert. That's not your.
Well.
I think this is a YouTube advert, guys. It's called YouTube advertising.
This incredible £44 knife sharpener turns any knife into a samurai sword for your kitchen.
Not a wine video.
It was only...
I don't think I've got the back. There we go. Sorry, that's not very clear, is it? There you go. Sorry, time to get some red wines poured.
And Mark, before we
hello.
move on, I forgot my very important question, and it's because
Yeah.
we're out of touch. I need to know how much each of these bottles of
sorry.
wine are. So that
The
we can...
the Vinho Verde is I think is a tenner, a £9.99, and the Alvarinho is a £12 bottle. So both fantastic, both absolutely fantastic wines. And so we've got our taste buds on the go now. We've got some red wines. So just a bit of history. When I'm trying to think how long ago it was. It must be 5 or 6 years, or maybe even 7 years ago, Diogo, when we first met. We came out and we were recommended your winery. You're basically a sort of an hour's drive north of Lisbon, roughly, I would guess. And you got some beautiful estates there. And I remember sitting in your tasting room with you, and I can't remember if it was your father or your uncle. And you brought out all the wines, and I remember we got onto the red ones, and I was thinking, and we tasted them in quality order, in price, starting at the lowest and moving to the most expensive, which is how you do it. And I remember thinking the first one, oh, that's good. I'm impressed with that. And the next one came out, I thought, oh, that's good. And the next one came out, I thought, oh, that's good. And we kept going. And there were five different levels of wine, each getting a bit more expensive and each getting better and better. And there wasn't one I didn't like. They were all fantastic. So and again, one of the ones we didn't take it first time round, but it's the next one we did. But we've got most of your red wines in stock at the moment. So the first one, this Casabel, is again just over £10. So before Rachel tells me off for not mentioning that. So anyway, maybe actually on a screen share, I've got some more maps to go. First of all, there's you looking very sort of like a wine model there, looking very good in your barrel room. This is this is the map of so further down south. You've got Lisbon. And by the way, if you haven't been to Lisbon, it's a great place to go. And I thoroughly recommend going to whole of Portugal, but do a road trip, Lisbon, and then go up to Porto and do the Douro as well. You have a fantastic holiday. So this is the wine regions around Lisbon. And then going a bit further north. So explain to everybody, could you maybe, Diogo, first of all, where you come from, where you are, and then tell us a bit about your history.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Diogo, as you see. We are just south of Caldas da Rainha. You see on the left corner of the map is where we are, very near the ocean. So our vineyards are roughly like 12, an average from 12 to 15 kilometers away, 10 to 12 miles away from the ocean. And my family has been in the business for 4 generations now. We are in the 4th generation. We are currently the oldest family producing wine and producing and bottling wines in the Lisbon wine region. So we have been improving years after years how to bottle wine, quality wine. And we have 3 estates in the denomination of Óbidos, the lila color. So the 3 estates that we own. This is Quinta do Sanguinhal, is also the umbrella name for our company, Sanguinhal, that you're having afterwards. And we have also the Cerejeiras, is also very famous. It's where we did the tasting. And
yes, that's right. Yes.
And we are very sensitive, always have been very sensitive to put the best value in each bottle that we produce, because of the expertise that we have been gathering. We don't want to put an overpriced wine in the market. We want to have a fair price for our customers, because we have a very long list of old customers, and the oldest customer of our wines, one of it is the gentleman that is scratched in the label of Casabel, is Fernando Pessoa. I don't know.
Yes, no, hang on. Let me screen share again, if you'll bear with me. Go back to this one because oh God, where is it now? There we go. This guy here, this cartoon. So that's him, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's a cartoon of this poet. When
and you
we
see
went to
in the picture of the label, you also see the hat and the glasses.
So for those who can't quite read the label, Diogo,
on the back
can
label
you
we have the sentence translated in English is Carlos, this is me at Abel's, nearly earthly paradise, albeit lost. And this is because of a picture that was taken in the early 20th century of Fernando Pessoa in one of my great-grandfather wine shops in Lisbon. He owned there around 100 wine shops and grocery stores in Lisbon. And this is how he got into the business. So he was buying a lot of wine around Lisbon, especially around Lisbon, but we also have some ports in our portfolio, Vinho Verde, Algarve wines from many regions in Lisbon. This is in the 100 years ago. What happened was that this gentleman was a regular customer. Fernando Pessoa, the famous poet, was a regular customer of our wines, and we tried to reproduce in one of our oldest brands, Casabel, the image and making the connection of these two gentlemen and the joy of drinking a glass of wine every day.
I think it's a very joyous wine, if I may say so. But again, I don't want to make comparisons with other countries or whatever, but just as of points of memory, this reminds me of a really good quality Beaujolais Village or a Fleury or something. It's got that lovely light, sort of silky elegance to it, and not heavy at all, but bags of depth of flavor and character. And I think this is a truly delicious wine, and it's light and elegant and silky smooth, and I really do enjoy it. It's no wonder this and the other one, they've got sort of bags of gold medal label stickers on it, because it's a fabulous wine.
Yeah, Casabel.
I think, Mark, we should do if people can, we should do another a group swirl, I think, and just see what we should be getting in terms of like tannins, and because I think the last ones that we did our swill on, the wine was much more aerated, right? So you kind of get a quite different profile on the palate. Should we do it again, Mark?
Yeah, just lay on mute for it, because we like
Let's
the sound
unmute and let's taste it all together. Yeah.
Unmute yourself if you'd like to be slurping on. By the way, this is being recorded on YouTube for posterity.
Yeah.
That's great. I love the depth of color. It's 2019 vintage. It's got a sort of, it's still very young. It's got lovely tannins, but they're quite soft. I think for me, probably this is a wine to be drunk relatively young, but I think it'll last perfectly well for several more years yet. So tell us what are the grape varieties in this, Diogo?
So also this is one of the features of our wines is exactly having this aging potential. The grape that we use here is Castelão, Touriga Nacional and Aragonês. So we have Sorry. We just hear back sound. I was saying the blend is Castelão, Touriga Nacional and Aragonês, and we have a wine that is coming from a region that is a cool climate region. Actually, Lisbon is separated in half by a mountain that is called Monte Junto, and we are on the cool side of the mountain. having a lot of influence of the Atlantic, and this influence balances the maturation of our grapes. We have a very slow maturation. We have a late. We are always one of the latest regions harvesting or starting harvesting, and also the latest to end. And this enables this natural balance to show also in the wines that we produce. We get a lot of extraction naturally, and so you have here a wine with 13%. Our reds are always between 13, 13 and a half, but a lot of concentration, a lot of texture, a lot of character. And the freshness at the back end is always pleasant and always present. This makes these wines very interesting for food pairing, and to drink a glass and another one and another one without having a heavy.
We like that sort of wine.
Yeah.
What about I don't know, a caldo verde? We did a caldo verde recipe, and I don't know how many here tonight have actually tried the recipe. It makes a beautiful sort of soup, vegetable soup, and we actually did drink it with this, and it was fantastic. I've got to be honest, it's not such a summery recipe, because it's a sort of a hearty soup, but it goes really well with this wine, I've got to say. What would you drink with what would you eat with this typically?
This wine, it's definitely a wine where you can have also with some codfish, with like in the oven,
like bacalhau,
yeah, in the oven. It's very interesting to have this and also octopus, for instance, in the oven. It goes well with some sirloin, some pig like sirloin in the oven as well, some roasted meat, but also with some salads, like with chicken salads, or like it's also for the lightness it has. It's very interesting. I have here the youngest winemaker. Sorry, I didn't introduce him.
Tell me, as fourth generation, did you feel under pressure to take up winemaking as a skill, or were you delighted? And will your son be equally delighted to carry on with you?
I think the pressure is only if you don't like the business. If you get in love with the business since you are young, and don't be obliged to be in the business, this is flowing naturally. I was never obliged to come into the business. I did it by myself. I also worked abroad. I started very early working for our wine company and our wine business, but it came with the years and years, and then after an experience abroad, I decided to come back and enter the families for I think definitely.
Your experience abroad, was that in wine, or was that outside of the wine business?
It was already in wine. So
so where did you go?
Yeah,
Where did you go
to? I went to Germany to work with our importer. So I had the tough job to sell Portuguese wines abroad.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, okay. And do the Germans like Portuguese wines?
Yeah, one of the things that we've talked about right at the beginning, Mark, you quite rightly said Portuguese wines and Portugal seems to be having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. Maybe Christina, you could answer this as well, but let's ask Diogo first. How would you, for lots of people on the call tonight, might have tried a few Portuguese wines or might have had some Portuguese wines but not known it before, but this might really be their first introduction to several delicious different Portuguese wines. What would be the things that they should take away and tell their friends when they said Portuguese wine is having a moment, and how do you describe what's happening at the moment in Portuguese wine, and what is it all about?
The Portuguese wines a journey of discovery. Okay, and it's a journey of discovery with a real value. It's not like when you buy a Portuguese wine, you are buying a lot for, unfortunately, yet to low prices. So this is something that we have been working on for many years, and especially with a lot of promotions. The Vinho Verde region is very strong in doing that and promotion around the world. But one of the main things Portuguese wines promise is quality and an experience. And an experience that you have never had. And the sentimental part of buying Portuguese wines is that most of the wines that you are buying are made by families that put a lot of passion into their businesses, and that are always listening also to the market. So we like to listen and to get the opinions from all our customers and improve, but also on the other hand, show our identity. We are always keen to learn, but always keen to learn and optimize our identity. And this is,
sounds like, in a way, it's like it's slightly, so there's more to, you're saying there's more to like discover with Portuguese wines. Yeah. The price point, there's like value to be found, because there's maybe not the huge market that some of the more traditional wines that we might drink more regularly kind of have. So you can get some really good quality wines. Yeah, Christiana, what's your perspective on all of this too?
It's a little bit like what Diogo said is true. We are almost mainly, all of us, our families working in wine. It's a passion, and it's sometimes a little bit of a craziness also to do this. But it's what we do it with our hearts. But many places probably do this too. But I think Portugal is just, we are a very small country, and sometimes people think that because we're very small, our wines will be very similar, but they're very different. It's like if you start in an end in the north until the south, you'll taste so many different wines. You'll just be sometimes thinking, how is it possible? And we just kept some things for ourselves. We have lots of grapes that are not very well known. We keep it very genuine. We understand the market, so we don't do wines that cannot be drunk, but we don't change them to be like everybody else and to try to imitate other wines. And I think that's the only thing that keeps us from doing this, is because we think of our children. We don't want to leave something that is not, that we won't be proud of it. So we want to always be able to say, no, we did this, and this is a really good thing that we did. So it's not like selling t-shirts. It's a part of us.
Well, so, we've had two lovely producers' views on that. Now let me give you the importer's view. Is that what the joy of Portuguese wines for me currently is that they are sticking to their local traditional varietals that have been there for donkeys, for centuries. They're not saying, oh, we must go for Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay and Viognier. We're sticking with what we do. We're not going for Merlot and Cabernet. We're sticking with these frankly unknown varieties that we can't even pronounce. But they're making wines, unique wines. They're making wines with their own character, not trying to copy anybody else. And I think that's why they are so lovely. They're different, and as you say, they're made these two different producers, particularly so small family producers, making wine with love and passion. And secondly, from a consumer's point of view, because they're not so well known, and they're actually relatively cheap. If these wines were made from famous regions, they'd be a lot more expensive than they currently are. So I'm sorry. Maybe we'd like you to make more money for your wines, but as consumers, we're going to enjoy them because I really do think we're getting fantastic value for money out of them, which we get less value for money if they were more internationally known, shall we say. So I think from our point of view, we're getting extra special pleasure out of them.
Yeah, I guess from the drinker and the passionate traveller perspective, I've had the pleasure of travelling through Lisbon, Portugal, Cascais, like lots of different regions, and I'm planning a trip to the Douro region this summer. And for anyone, that hasn't been to Portugal, I think what you find there is delicious wine, delicious food, and it's actually quite hard to describe, I think, like Portuguese cuisine, because we don't have that kind of archetypal view that, if I say French cooking or Spanish cooking, everyone has this really clear vision of what comes to mind. But in Portugal, I've just found like delicious dishes, fantastic hospitality paired with amazing wines. And I think it's as Mark said, lots of people seem to be going on holiday there more and more, and I hope they do. And I think speak to Mark, speak to me if you anyone's planning
in terms of cuisine. My son Richard and his girlfriend came back from Porto recently and said, you've got to try a francesinha. Well, I think I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a Portuguese gut-busting version of a croque monsieur in France. And it's absolutely, it's fantastic. I made one this week. I'm on my
It has to be spicy,
It's spicy, and the sauce. So I've made too much sauce, and I kept it because it makes a perfect sauce for patatas bravas. So it's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, look, we need to get on to the final red.
We do need to try the final wine. We've got the time always slips away from us at the end.
So this is a 15. I think I'm sorry, I can't remember, but it's around about a 15-pound bottle, and it's when I tasted you make various different blends, Diogo, from this estate, and I honestly preferred the straight Touriga Nacional. It's 100% varietal, and this is a varietal which makes it's used in port wine, isn't it? It's one of the varietals that's used in port wine. And if you look at the color, it's a beautiful deep color, and it's a rare example of a single in reds of a single varietal, and it's got that lovely sweet. I love that sweet smell. It's not a sweet wine; it's dry wine. You almost think you're going to have a bottle of port when you drink it, but when you taste it, of course, it's dry. It's got lovely tannins, beautiful soft tannins. It's got, I don't know, a beautiful dark cherry fruit. I mean, I think this is an absolutely gorgeous wine. It's a lovely contrasting style from the Casabel, which is quite a velvety, sort of smooth style. But then it's got rich tannin. This one's got rich tannins and very, very soft. So how do you? What's the winemaking process behind this, please, Diogo?
The Touriga Nacional its original is from the Down region, and it is also very popular in the Douro region, and it became nowadays one of the most known grape variety in the red. And also I think from Portugal is Touriga Nacional. If you think of a Portuguese grape variety in a test, the name that you have to know is Touriga Nacional. There isn't much production. It's not like the Tempranillo for the Spanish wines that they have bigger productions. We have small productions. Touriga Nacional is a grape variety that you cannot make huge volumes out of it. And our winemaker is originally from the Douro Valley. His family has been growing Touriga and other grape varieties for port houses and for also Douro wines. And he moved to our estate over 27 years ago. He's still exclusively our winemaker since then, and this is one of his babies and joy of his proud of his work, where we give him also a little bit of free hand to produce a wine that is only possible to do in very good years. This is the 2017 what you are having. It's a small batch that we do, and we
How
have
many bottles, Diogo? If you said small batch.
5,000 liters, around 6,500 bottles.
Small. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sold out. We don't have anything left. The next vintage will be the 2019. Usually we have this wine around 10 to 12 months in French oak, second and third for used usually. So we can keep the fruitiness also from the Touriga Nacional. Touriga Nacional in this case is from a cool climate region, so you feel this violet, this more fruity side of the Touriga. It's very interesting to see how Touriga also adapts very well to our regions. To our region, and then we also have a bottle aging a little bit before you launch in the market. As you can see in the two wines that you are having, these are like the 2019 Casabel was just run out just now. We just started launching the 2021, but they are wines that improve a lot with bottle. One of our oldest brand is the Quinta das Cerejeiras, that has been in the market since 1920 vintage with the same label, and this wine is always good with 10 years, 15 years bottle. Okay, but still with a great value. When you see it on the shelf, you can buy these wines for a good value when they come into the market, and still you can drink them when they come, but also keep some bottles in your cellar to see how they develop. A little bit what we're talking about, the Alvarinho.
Buy 2 cases, keep one for later. Yeah, we know.
I do that, and I like our family wine, especially for that, of this aging potential. We are making often, like once a year, we do a big vertical tasting on one of our brands of 3 decades, 4 decades, even 5 decades of the wines. So it's very interesting to see that the Lisbon wine region, especially in our sub-region, Óbidos, has this aging potential, and Touriga Nacional definitely is one of it. It has nice, if you see, it can have some crystals already because it's laying down the bottles. So we recommend to decant, but this is a good, because these are low filtered wines. We don't filter that much this wine, so the main
and no hangovers, obviously no hangovers at all. So one of the questions coming up.
I never had one. Never. I swear I never had a hangover with my own wines.
I know, and I tell you what, I've never had a hangover with any of the wines that the Real Wine Company has imported, and I do drink a lot, and I haven't had a hangover, and that's because we deal with people like you two who have a passion for clean wines, made with love. So and we've really enjoyed them. Just a quick question. What is the residual sugar level on this with the Sanguinal?
On the Sanguinal is less than 2 grams residual sugar.
Yeah, because it feels that a comment coming through is that residual sugar. It feels like it's got a higher level of residual sugar, but actually it isn't. It's the intensity of fruit on there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's natural fruit. It's not. We don't add any sugar as well. Is less than 2 grams residual sugar.
And that's one of the things I like about why the Touriga Nacional. I can't pronounce it in Portuguese. Touriga Nacional it's got a sweet taste, but without being sweet. I don't know how that works, but that's how I feel about it when I taste it.
Yeah, it's a very fruit forward wine in this case, and this is the integration of fruitiness and acidity and this is also coming from the vineyards already, with the balance that we can get when we harvest the grapes. So you don't have to work much in the cellar to get this kind of products. If the grapes, this is the origin of everything are the grapes, and this is why we work a lot during the year as well to have the best grapes coming into our cellar.
Well, look, I think that we need to.
Mark,
can I just? Yes, we need to move on because time moves on. Just finally, we've only just received your wines only sort of, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we're already running out of stock. We're going to have to reorder again. We need some more Touriga Nacional, obviously. The other one which I've run out of stock of is you actually do Diogo, a 20-year-old sort of fortified wine, which is from the Quinta de San Francisco, which is delicious. So we've got a few more wines to come, and Cristiana, we've already sold most of the Vinho Verde from you as well already. So we will have some repeat orders soon. I'm sure about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been honestly.
Rachel, any more questions from anybody before we go off?
A few things. So, firstly, Mark, talk us through the price per bottle of the almost sold out and sold out wines that we're going to be reordering from Diogo.
It's a mere £15 a bottle, I believe. I haven't got to check. It might be 16, but it's 15 or 16.
I do think that our barbecues are sorted between Cristiana, who is kind of with that Vinho Verde at the beginning, welcoming your guests with some nice, slightly fizzy wine that they haven't tried before, and then moving through the evening with your barbecued meats and your chicken and salads, and Diogo just finishing you off with that low residual sugar but high fruit wine at the end. I just think, how nice would that be?
Rachel, when's the barbecue?
We're all invited.
When's the barbecue? I'm looking forward to it.
We'll have a barbecue at our warehouse, a summer barbecue. Well, maybe not this year, next year. We'll organise one.
Yeah, good idea.
I'd like to everybody unmute if you like. I'd just like to say thank you very much to Cristiana and to Diogo for coming to us this evening. And thank you to everybody for joining in. It's been a lot of fun. I've forgotten how much fun it was. We'll have to do more. But thank you very much.
Before we go,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Please visit us.
Sorry, Diogo. Sorry.
Please visit us when you are in Portugal. When you're in Portugal, you can visit.
Yeah. We've got another. We've got a real wine company travel agency working here.
Barbecue and travel agency.
Definitely. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, there's one final thing before we close, which is an embarrassing happy birthday to George Shedden, who's joined us tonight for the first time. It's his first real wine company tasting. Happy birthday, George.
Happy birthday, George.
Thank you very much. I've been quiet all night. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy
My
birthday.
daughter and future son-in-law are sitting there. I hope future son-in-law anyway. It's been very nice.
Good.
It's really nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.
Good night, all.
Nice weekend for all.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Catherine, James.
Thanks, Cristiano. Thanks, Diogo. We look forward to
Thank you for your invitation.
And buying more wine and seeing you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Where did you put?